Hello, welcome Dr. Sushma Singh this side. Today in Unit 23 Cohesive and Divisive Dimensions of Religion, we start our lecture with topic Multiple Interpretations of Indian Religions. The basic sacred texts of Hindu which are composed in Sanskrit are the four Vedas. Commentaries by the Acharyas on Vedic rituals and formula 108 Upanishads, Ramayanas and Mahabharatas, the 21 Puranas and the hagiographies of Bhakti Sants who lived and preached in different parts of the India. Bhagavad Gita, which is actually Upanishad, has referred to the three paths to salvation: the Jnana Marga, path of spiritual knowledge; Karma Marga, the path of action; and the Bhakti Marga, the path of devotion. Over the centuries, hundreds of commentaries have been written on Gita. The output is continuing up to the present. The commentaries have appeared in Indian languages and also English and German. Each commentary professes offer a new interpretation of Krishna's message to Arjuna. Whatever be the Hindu sect, the Guru attains a high status if he or she writes or preaches on Gita. Similarly, other texts have undergone diverse interpretations. There is no doubt that endless diversity of Indian people in language, reason, and inherited culture has had a bearing on these varied interpretations and religious practices. The endless debates between different sects also emanate from the same source. Multiple interpretations and practices have stimulated high literary activity but have also often caused frictions. An outstanding problem in Indian religion is what is called Refication. It means that ideas, meanings, and symbols are turned into things. For example, from the time of Manu, the Hindu males were enjoined upon to offer Shraddha periodically to deceased ancestors. This practice later became a mere ritual without any symbolic significance. The priest elaborated the ceremony, which became an economic burden. Similarly, events such as birth, marriage, funeral, etc. were ritualized and elaborated. Performing these rites drove more and more people into debt or economic deprivation. In most cases, the symbolic significance has been lost in the observance of Hindus. For example, during Ekadashi, fasting on the 11th day of the month, the pious Hindu abstain from food and water. The central meaning of Ekadashi is not gaining merit through fasting alone. The term refers to the inner control exercised by man over the following: his five senses, his five motor functions, speaking, working, moving, eating and drinking, plus his own mind. Through this control, the individual comes to dwell near God. But most common people interpret the term upvasa as merely fasting, abstaining from food without the self-control or mental focus has detracted the people from the basic purpose. Similarly, the other communities have also become a prey to refications. The Islam jihad means the self-control which an individual gains under the guidance from Allah. Under the nationalistic urge at present, the term has came to mean a disposition towards violent activity against unarmed people or taking over territory. Islam does not sanction these interpretations. Jihad allows violence only in self-defense. That is, if there is an attack on the faith by the outsiders, then it calls for armed resistance to it by the faithful. Among Christians, the 16 commandments of Moses, "Thou shalt not kill," was interpreted to include only human beings. Hence, animals came to be killed for food. There was an institutional practice of vegetarianism in most part of the Europe, perhaps as a compensation for this violence of the Mosaic Code. For 40 days during Lent, the Christian stayed away from meat eating, but it has nearly disappeared at present. The gurus, munis, and Buddhist monks have not only tried to correct Refications but also interpreted the scriptures in a different light. The Guru's authority has exceeded the canonical constraints. On a number of occasions, Gurus have interpreted sacred texts differently to settle some personal problems of their followers. The Guru's satsang is not only a venue for prayers or meditation, but it is also a place for the devotees who throng to it to gain clarity of mind or find solution to their personal problems. Some gurus in India have remained even silent, but on a non-verbal level have made a anguished man and woman gain response. Ramana Maharishi of South India remained silent most of the time, but the ordinary men and women who came to see him felt relief by just sitting in his presence. Likewise, the followers of Nanak saw a halo around his head, which was a sign of his spirituality. These personalized experiences have phenomenological implications, which means that the normal division between subject and object is no longer relevant. The social scientists have to go beyond the confines of positivism to gain insights into the religious life in India. In some, the Guru-Shishya relationship transcends the duality of existence. There is an unmediated direct interaction between the seekers and the guide. The satsang, which is well known in North India, is a kind of hermeneutical circle in which there are often inexplicable occurrences. For example, a sudden change in attitude, healing of sickness, which can take place instantly. Those who are outside these circles have no experience of this sort. However, this inner reality is compelling even if the outsiders find it difficult to believe. A few words may be necessary to make the religious scene more explicit. All Indian religions have emphasized that direct experience. For example, intuition is more important than learning. In fact, many gurus in India like Nanak Ramakrishna were not learned, yet people flocked to them to seek solace or advice. The Guru exercises a moral authority in giving advice to followers. Some of his actions may not find sanction in the sacred texts, but no one questions the Guru's word. The Acharya who is learned in Sanskrit has a high prestige, but he does not exercise personal influence to the same extent as the Guru. It is a matter of common observance that attendance at a religious gathering in India is not based on publicity. There is an inner drive which makes the folk participate in religious events. In the recent years, the satsang in North India has come to occupy a central place among the religious populace. The destruction of many temples or other places of worship during the previous centuries had created a void in the north. Hence, the satsang practice started with stalwarts like Tulsidas, Kabir, and Nanak, but has vibrantly continued down to the present. Both male and female gurus have attracted large audiences consisting of men, women, and children. The relative absence of ritualism or temple culture in North India has not diminished the popularity of religion. The increasing use of electronic media like TV, video, and audio cassettes has further strengthened the culture of satsang. Here we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.